Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Empowered Eczema podcast. We have a special guest today. We have Sarina from Phoilex. Hi, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Amazing. So I actually met you at the Eczema Expo this year in Denver, and your story was absolutely incredible behind why you created Phoilex and just your passion that you have towards this subject. So I know a lot of this was inspired by your dad's journey. So do you mind sharing a little bit about what your dad went through and sort of the passion you have towards this, helping people with skin issues?
Absolutely. So first, I want to say I'm so glad that I went to the National Eczema Show. Being that we launched the brand at the show, I think it was such a great place to connect with community and with people like you, from coaches to doctors to nutritionists, and also so many other people in the community that have their own personal journey and story on what they've gone through with their eczema and with their skin issues. So I'm so glad to have went there and to have met you. And Forlex is the journey of, mine and my father's experience with eczema and psoriasis. And my dad, since I was a kid, since I could remember, I've always witnessed him with struggling with serious psoriasis, flare ups from head to toe. And psoriasis is a little bit more on the severe side when it comes to eczema because it's more on the autoimmune side and it takes over bigger patches of the body. And a lot of people that have psoriasis um, come with pain and a lot of like inflammation, bone. So I just seen him struggling with it his whole life. And then it was maybe 6 years ago, I'd say, where I was really just paying attention to it more and I just couldn't handle seeing him like that anymore. And for myself, since high school, I've always been into, supplements and more natural ways of what I take and what I put on my body. So I kind of was looking at how I handled my eczema from a young age. Also diagnosed with eczema at the age of like 9 or 10. Have had it all over my body from under my arms to my back, currently flared up on my neck and on my hands. And I've always used natural ointments. And out of high school, I kind of tried to stay away from steroids just from my own knowledge of what everything was. So I got to a point where I was just like, okay, we need to do something different. And my dad was in so much pain. Like there would be days where his skin felt like it was burning and wearing a shirt was difficult for him. He couldn't sleep at night in bed because it hurt him. So he was like sleeping on the floor or the kitchen table. So it was just a lot. And then with COVID, stress, as we all know, stress plays a really big part in eczema and psoriasis. Like you could be doing really well with your skin, and then all of a sudden you have a really bad day at work, or maybe just life is just getting to you and you get stressed out, and the flares come out that way. So that's really why I started Foilex. And during that journey, I became so passionate and excited about the formulations and where we were getting, especially with my father's progress, that it became like a full on brand and company for me.
And what's really interesting, and I want to share this, is how did it start? How did your formulation start with that whole thing? You see your dad suffering, you don't want him to be going through this, and then you start suggesting what? How does that
So it
progress?
all started by suggesting oral CBD for inflammation. So um, sourced the right way, CBD is used all the way from children with autism and to adults with cancer and things like that. And it's used because of its anti inflammatory effects and all the science and research that's behind that. So essentially, I had started giving him CBD and we were noticing a change with it. So we started to formulate with like bombs and things like that. And then that was going good. But during all this time, I would say like a good year, in like 2019, I dug really deep into this rabbit hole of research and ingredients and what's happening internally for people with psoriasis and eczema, and what's happening externally from environmental stressors to the change in weather all the time, climate change, ingredients in your food. So there's all these different things that, I read about and I studied about and I took in, and I began to really seek ingredients that were backed by research and science from either books or articles and things like that. And I started to create this list of all these things that I wanted. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I put this together now? So that's all really like where the research and where the base came from. And then in 2020, after COVID, maybe around mid-summer 2020, Canada started to open up again. So I really had a lot of time too to spend. I don't know what you were doing at that time, but I was stuck at home. So I was spending a lot of time researching and like figuring out what this company would look like and what I needed to do and who I needed to hire. And then finally, when we opened up again, I put the pedal to the metal and I began our formulation process.
That's amazing. It takes a lot of just gall and grit to go forward and really just, first off, the amount of research that you spent and all, it sounds a lot like myself. Like I was so stubborn and I knew all the ingredients that I liked, all the ingredients that I didn't, and I like researched every single piece of everything that I could. But the fact that you learned and felt so strongly about the way that you were able to help your dad that you're like, other people need this. And going through the process of manufacturing, of picking bottles, of,
The hardest.
that's insane. And it's really impressive to me. And I just love that all of this is backed by your passion to help people with skin issues like that.
Honestly, there's so many people around me, friends, family, myself, etc., that deal with the same skin issues, and I just very, I don't know how to explain it, but when it comes to Western medicine, not always your doctor is correct. And I feel like the normal person is almost scared to ask questions sometimes, and it's not their fault. Not everybody, wants to question authority or their doctor or whatnot. And so many different medications have had downward side effects and outside of eczema and psoriasis, and steroids are used for multiple different things, not just psoriasis and eczema, right? They're treated for other illnesses. And then, as you know from the show, which I learned in the process of creating Phoilex, was that there is something called TSW. I had no idea 5 years ago that TSW was a thing. And while we were formulating Phoilex and, my father was trying all these products to see what worked for him, it came to a point where we said, okay, well, Dad, you have to stop using the steroids now. We want to see what's going on. Mind you, my father has been on steroids since, I don't know, maybe 40 years, since his early 20s or teens. So it's a long time of using steroids. And it's not just, using steroids once a month. It's every day. So, and we noticed that when he was going cold turkey on the steroids, he had been like saying that his skin was burning. And I'm like, what? And it was a different pain that he had ever described before. So then, I'm calling my chemist, I'm calling the pharmacist, and I'm like, what's going on? My dad's skin's burning. And we're like, from what we learned, it was because he was no longer using that steroid. And he got through it. He cut it cold turkey. He's been over 2 years now, steroid free. He only uses the Phoilex Relief Gel, and I've helped him choose better options when it comes to soap and things like that are, less irritating for his skin, especially with, the fact that he deals with it from his scalp to his feet. So, and yeah, we've seen really great results. And that's when we realized like we need to go through a clinical trial. We need to prove this on a different level. Because prior to starting Phoilex and all of the different formulations that we did, my dad was on steroids daily. He was flaring up 3 times a week, which means he was constantly using steroids. And it's almost like, is it psoriasis at that point? Right? It's like, we don't even know. Doctors don't even know. So he was able to go from 3 flare-ups a week to, now one every like 6 to 8 weeks. And sometimes in between there, they do last a couple of weeks, but when they go away, his skin is completely clean and his skin looks younger, he looks healthier. And more than anything, he's happier. He's like, I'm not in pain. I don't feel any pain. The flare up is nothing to me compared to the pain that I would go through prior. And I think like that's the most exciting part for me is like, he feels good. He's not miserable. He's not stressed. He's not any of the above. He's like, okay, I have a flare up. I know how to deal with it. And I'm going to get through it because it's not really affecting me doing anything around the house or going to work tomorrow, right? And there was times my dad was in a lot of pain. And he had asked his doctor, hey, can I get some time off work? And the doctor denied it. And I don't think some doctors even understand the severity of it. And like even with me, I would say for me, the worst place that I've ever had eczema is my hands and my face. My hands, they hurt, right? Especially when they're open wounds. And then my face around the eyes, like it feels like a burn, like it feels like a sunburn. So I could only imagine somebody like him who is in so much pain that he has to resort to sleeping somewhere that doesn't touch him, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think his story is absolutely incredible. It pushed me hard towards applying for our own clinical trial with Health Canada. Took us a year to obtain that trial, and we went through it. We recruited 100 patients for the trial, but due to location and things like that, we were only able to get 25. And then in the end, we finished 19 total with eczema and 4 with psoriasis.
Amazing. I actually am, I know I have the bottle with me right here, but for those listening, what are some of those ingredients that you felt really strongly about, that you did the research on, that you can share, on here for us to learn a little bit more about it?
Absolutely. So there's this formula is packed with so many amazing ingredients. I think the base of it was the fact that I went back to Eastern medicine, our native ancestors, what they were doing way before our time. And we chose 6 plants that is what we call our Phoilex phytoactive blend. So it's a blend of 6 herbs that are topically inflammatory for inflammation, wound healing, soothing, nourishing, great for open wounds. And that you'll find, hopefully, as we grow, we'll use that in all of our ingredients. So that's like our proprietary blend. Then we have a blend of 3 types of vitamin D3. So we use vitamin D3 as it is. Then we use shiitake mushroom, which is a form of vitamin D3, natural vitamin D3. And then we have another type of vitamin D3 that almost is like a precursor that helps get the vitamin D3 deeper into the skin. So we call that like our triple acting vitamin D3, which is absolutely amazing for anybody going through any of that. We use colloidal oatmeal, which is widely known in this space. It's an ingredient everybody trusts, and it's well known. We also use a ceramide complex, so a bunch of different ceramide complexes that help with restoring hydration, skin rejuvenation, things like that. We have bisabolol, which not too many people know but it's also super hydrating. It helps reduce redness, irritation. It's an anti-irritant, which when you're going through eczema and psoriasis, you kind of go through things like that as well. Like something you touch could just irritate you. So we kind of tried to find ingredients that were good for that as well. Olive squalane. We use grapeseed oil, like all like really good oils that are anti-inflammatory, moisturizing. So many really good ingredients in here. Is there one that you maybe wanted to ask me about?
Yeah, I have the Active Relief Spot Gel here,
Yep.
and emu oil is a specific ingredient in here that I thought was so interesting. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes. I know emu oil and things like that may not be um, for everybody. Like, why are you using that? But there's a lot of research back that it penetrates deep into the skin and it's anti-inflammatory, and it helps specifically associated with psoriasis. It's rich in oleic acid, linoleic acid, and antioxidants. The emu oil that we do source is ethically sourced. We make sure that no emus are harmed or hurt in the process of making the oil. And the farm that we do source the emu oil from in the US gave us all those documentations before we made the decision to put it into our product.
I'm actually really glad you brought that up because I hear about emu oil and the controversy behind
Yeah,
it, and so I'm glad you kind of brought that up yourself
yeah,
and
there
can
is.
talk through that.
We just felt like it was a must in the formula. It like when we were formulating with and without, and what we were doing to get to where we wanted to be. We just there's you could get emo oil from anywhere, but we do make sure that any ingredient that we do source is ethically sourced, sustainably sourced, and we make sure like as a brand that we're able to say that. And especially with the emu oil, we made sure that the farm that we do get it from is not harming any of the animals in the process of making it. So they're essentially getting it from animals that are no longer here as of today, right? Other
Efficient.
ingredient that I think I should talk a little bit about, and I
Yeah.
totally forgot, is our CBD. So CBD is our anti-inflammatory hero. We do use CBD in the active relief gel. CBD, CBG, CBDA, like all together, beautiful blend, which is super anti-inflammatory. It's safe for anyone to use topically from children to adults. If there's any controversy around that, there's no way that CBD through skin or through your pores could penetrate deep enough to get into any organs or things like that. So I thought that would be important for you to know as well.
Yeah, amazing. So I have the spot gel, and you have a product in your hands.
Yeah.
And I know you did a clinical trial. What product did you test? Did you test multiple products?
So we
And
only tested the act. So we have two products. So we have the spot gel, which you have. That's what we were giving samples of at the show. The second product that we have is our liver tea tincture, our dynamic drops. We do not have a clinical trial on this yet. Our goal as a company is to continue clinical trials, and this would be next in line to kind of research its anti-inflammatory effects on the body internally. But we do have our clinical trial on the active relief gel. 74% of participants at the week of 8 noticed that their flare-ups reduced by 70%. So some of the easy ways to explain it is if a participant had one flare-up a week, by 8 weeks, they were like, oh, shoot, I only had one or only had two. So that's like really amazing news. The reason why that is able to happen is because unlike a steroid, this is safe to use daily. So even if you don't have a flare up and you know that that's your popular area flare up and you want to continue to use it daily or every other day, that's great because it's not going to do anything but, rejuvenate your skin, strengthen your skin, and create a better environment for your skin to be stronger to not have a flare up again. So that's like the really great thing about this. So not only can you use it on your flare ups, but as preventative. 100% of patients said that they would choose a natural alternative over a steroid, which is really great. I don't have the facts in front of me, but if you want to know some more, I can pull them up.
Yeah, sure, why not? We
Yeah.
can we can spend a few minutes doing that. While you're pulling that up, do you have any advice for someone who is like your dad, where they're suffering in a really bad way right now, and it's hard to get through the day, and they're sleeping in places that aren't so comfortable?
Absolutely. Well, our advice is our Liberty Dynamic Drops. So this was formulated for the fact that there is a mind-body connection, and sometimes when you don't feel good or you don't look good, it takes a big mental toll on your brain and on your mind. And you don't want to go and hang out with friends and you don't want to do certain things because, maybe you're not feeling confident or you're just don't feel good, right? So this this blend works from the inside. The plants that we've chosen in here are all also inflammatory and anti-inflammatory. They're protecting, rejuvenating, antioxidants, working to strengthen the immune system and things like that. But then also the lemon balm and the CBD are really good for relaxing and calming. And CBD has no psychoactive effects, so you don't have any type of head high. It's really just mellow. It just makes you feel good. And it helps you, it just helps you during those times where you're like high stress, kind of calm down a bit. So I would definitely recommend this. And I would also just say to feel beautiful and feel confident in your skin no matter what. I know it's a hard thing to say because confidence plays a big part in people that suffer with eczema and psoriasis. Like I've heard stories where somebody told me they knew that their boss was stressed out at work because they would wear like a scarf and they would flare up during that time. And you know what I mean? And that's because they don't want to show it. So I would just say, everybody's going through something at some point in life and at some point in time. And um, just try to feel as best as you can and not feel scared or unconfident in your skin and just to be you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for that, and I know you were gonna look up some facts, but we can add that
Yeah.
to the description if you're okay with that.
Okay. Do you want to go on? Go ahead.
Um, we can add that to the description of this video. So if you're somebody that's interested in Phoilex and the different things that Sarina offers, we'll write up a little bio and you can read everything about, Sarina and Phoilex and the different products that they have down below. And do you have anything else that you want to say? Thank you so much, by the way, for coming on and sharing your
No,
story.
thank you. This is amazing. This is my first podcast. This is the first time that I'm speaking, openly like this to whoever's watching. And I'm excited to do more of this. And honestly, I'm just super grateful to have a product that can help other people. I really feel like I found my purpose in Foilex, and knowing that it helps so many people is a really amazing thing. As you can find us online and get some information there. We are currently in manufacturing mode, so we're available for pre-order online and officially ready to ship August 1st.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much and
Thank
take care.
you.
All right. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.